Hi, Jim here, and you're listening to the Honest Filmmaker podcast, career advice from people in the business. This week I spoke to Rosa Camero. Rosa's been a publicist for over 15 years and has worked on massive productions like the Twighlight Saga, Bodies and Divergent. I had a great chat with Rosa. She talked about how she got into the industry, and she also gave me some great tips on how to market your own film, how to find out who your audience is, and where to find them. Enjoy. So first off, could you explain to me what a publicist does?
A publicist. This is a good question because people think that a publicist is also marketing, but a publicist is only PR. So it's a difference between the marketing. There's not like one marketing person, but it's like different parts of the marketing, and the publicist is in charge of the PR part. So this means media, talent, interviews, mentions in media, red carpets, and all the noise that you can see on media, traditional media, and also online, like blogs, podcasts, even influencers. They can come into that part of the marketing, the marketing part. So when you have influencers, you do collaborations, and when it's a collaboration, it's PR.
Gotcha. Okay. And how did you, could you tell me your career path into being a publicist?
Okay, so I started in 2008. I am originally from Mexico, and I started working in the film industry in 2008 in Mexico City. So I started as a marketing assistant, and then from there I jumped into promotion coordinator. This is promotion and marketing coordinator, and I was in charge of all the third-party promotions with brands and companies. And then I jumped into PR manager. And then from there, I moved to Spain in 2014, and I started my own business 2016, where I became film distributor. But I had someone book the film theaters, and I was in charge of all the marketing. So I was like one woman show doing a film promotion, marketing, ads, PR, junkets and media tours with talent. So I was doing everything myself. The films that I distributed, they were small as well. But anyway, so it's a lot of work that I did there. And then from there, I decided that actually I didn't decide it, but I noticed that one thing that is missing for filmmakers is the marketing part. They don't know how important it is to have a good marketing campaign, have a marketing plan. It's not only the PR, it's like the whole marketing system that you need to have for your film. So I decided to focus in training and showing and teaching the process of film distribution and marketing, because also among filmmakers, the film distribution, there are scammers. They want to take our film for 20 years. And then in the other side, as a distributor, is the filmmakers. They don't know all the work that we need to do to make their film work and to make money.
Yeah.
So it's like both parties, they are against each other, but in the end they need each other. So what I do now is I teach the process of PR and the marketing in general, also with the part of film distribution.
So you've been on the side, you've gone through marketing, you've learned the publicist stuff, you've learned the distribution stuff, and now you're putting that together to sort of teach filmmakers to promote their movies and get them distributed successfully.
Yes. So what I do, I teach the process if they want to learn, and I think it's a good thing that you want to learn the process, because that's where you make the money. But also I have a service where I help film producers. It's the film strategy, implementation, execution. I do everything. So I work for them, but this is a long-term period of time working with me. It's not like 3 months and we are ready, right? It's like 1 month. I released my film in 1 month. So it's like I'm looking for someone who helped me to promote my film. It's like, you're already late. And then if the marketing campaign fails, of course it's the PR person, of course it's the marketing person who didn't do their job.
Yeah.
And so that's why I had decided, okay, long term, we know each other, we know how to work together. So I have both. So I execute, but I also teach filmmakers how to do it.
Sure. And I've been fascinated because obviously I'm a filmmaker myself, and you write your script, you get your film made, which is a really hard process. Then you come to the sort of sales and marketing end of it, which you know nothing about. And sometimes you might feel as a filmmaker that you're just shouting into the void of social media about your project. So I've been really fascinated to look at your 10-step marketing plan, film challenge you've been doing at the moment. Really interesting. Is there any way, and there's a lot in there, so I'm not expecting you to tell me the lot, but what are the most important parts of that, do you think, of that 10-step promotion plan for your film?
I think the most important is knowing your target. Who are you selling to? When you know who are you selling to, you can go to those places where he or she hangs out and have a good time, and then you promote the film there. So, but if you don't know who you're selling to, you're gonna feel like that. You're gonna feel like it's like who I'm talking to, and then you see likes of your family members and your friends. It's like I know you're gonna watch the film. I need more than this, right? So
Yeah.
I think knowing your target audience, knowing where they hang out, you build your marketing plan around it. You can use it's just everything, it's intertwined, right? So it's like we talk about social media, but then a lot of times filmmakers think that having a paid campaign, you need to pay for ads on Facebook, Instagram. But then this is intertwined to the social media. So you need to make sure that all the social media it's presentable. I mean, you have the photo, you have the logo, you have the good pictures, you have the links that are not broken. So that's implementation. And then from there, you think about the marketing campaign or the marketing ad campaign. So everything is intertwined. But definitely, I believe knowing who is your target, that's the most important.
Yeah. And how would you figure that out? Is it as simple as looking at similar films to yours and who watches those, or is there anything else to it than that?
Yeah, I mean, I have done it so many times that for me it's very easy to know just from a synopsis what kind of people might see your film. But it is true for a filmmaker who hasn't done it before, looking at other films and looking at the target, or looking at the people who watch those films. So maybe it's not as clear as they think it is. So one thing that you need to focus is, okay, what kind of film is it? What genre? Is it horror? Okay, horror is for young people, no, not above 35 maybe, and they like to hang out on the internet. Maybe they are on Reddit, they have a TikTok account, so you already have two places there where you can start creating a noise around your film. So you have Reddit, you have TikTok. It's a romantic comedy, normally it's women, so you target to women depending of the main characters. It might be older people, it might be younger, depends on also the culture, who goes to the film theaters, where is the release, like which place is the release that you're having. So if it's film theaters, for example, in Spain, that I was a film distributor there, older people is the people who goes to the film theaters. Younger people, they consume a lot more content on the video on demand platforms. So it depends where you're releasing, what kind of platform. But the most important is to know, okay, men or women, how old they are, and what they like to do. Like, what are the places they frequent? What are the places they like to hang out? And why do they like to do? I mean, are they introverts? Are they extroverts? Do they like to travel? Do they like food? Like foodie, they like to go out and eat in restaurants. What kind of restaurants? Do they like the luxury, a luxury restaurant? Do they like a fast food? And I'm saying all these little details because when you come to the marketing plan, if they like fast food, then you look for a fast food restaurant. That can be McDonald's, that can be Burger King, that can be, I don't know, Taco Bell, or all these fast food chains that they do partnerships with films.
So on a bigger budget production, and maybe even filmmakers should do this now, is should you be thinking about this stuff before you even start filming? Or do you normally get presented with a project and say, right, how are you going to promote that, Rosa? Or is it best to start thinking about that when you're writing your script even?
I mean, I like to start, if they work with me, I like to start working with the filmmaker if I'm doing all the execution from pre-production, production, like when they are in that stage. So I have the idea who I need to contact, who I need to work with. And especially I think when you're doing all these collaborations and negotiations, sometimes it takes months. So if it's a big brand or a big company, they need months to get approved because they need to do this and that. So they need like 2, 3, 4 business meetings for you to get what you want. So yes, as soon as you can start with marketing, the better. It's not impossible. I mean, I have done marketing campaigns in 1 month, 2 months, and they work okay. So it is possible, but the sooner you think about marketing, the better.
Sure. And what advice would you give? So if you're micro budget indie filmmaker, especially if you're British, actually, we get embarrassed easily and don't like to go out there and, spam everyone with things about our film. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Any advice for getting over the sort of embarrassment of constantly talking about your own project?
That's a very interesting question because I live in Denmark, and Danish people, they are the same. They're not like, oh, I have this film, but it's like, it's not well seen that you go out there and you talk about the film or you talk about yourself all the time, right? And Americans are more like, yes, look at me, this is my film, and they feel. But even though they still have that problem with showing their film, and for me, what I believe, that's related to mindset. That's related to how good you think your film is. Oh, how good, like how you believe it. If it's like, it's a low budget, it's not good enough, like I could have done it better. So instead of saying that to yourself, saying yourself, this is great. If I don't show myself, if I don't do the marketing that it needs, it won't be seen. So it's like, I'm gonna do my best. So it's also like working with your mindset, working with yourself, and nobody's gonna do it for you unless that you pay someone. And when you hire someone, you need to know what you want. So it's like, I think it's all around marketing. It's very close to mindset and the fear of visibility. So telling yourself a few affirmations about my film is great, it needs to be seen. I mean, this is the best film that has happened to the world.
Are there any genres, you talked about horror, maybe romantic comedy, are there any genres that are easier to promote, or is it all about audience and finding them?
I mean, the genre yes, the films that I found the most easy is horror, because it has a very, I don't know, they're like, the fandom is really into the films. Like, it's really supportive. Like, it doesn't matter how bad your film is, people that really like horror films, they will watch it. So I think the fandom of horror films, or the horror, the horror films, it's easy for them to watch your film. So you just need to find them. And there's also a lot of good film festivals around the world that they support horror films, and they're important, they're big. You can find all kind of films there. So I think horror, it's one of the the genres. I have a problem with that word. It's in Spanish is género.
General.
It's
All right.
kind of similar. But I think horror films might be the easiest because the fandom it's easy to find, easy to target. They're open already. It's like, yeah, just show me what you got. But if they don't like something, they're very honest as well.
Yes, they are. Okay, so what advice would you give to a filmmaker working with a publicist or a marketing person? How can they get the most out of that marketing person?
I think getting the most of hiring someone to do your marketing is knowing what you want. Like, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve with your film? Like, yes, everyone said, but I want more people to watch my film. I want to make money. I want to, but not necessarily that need to be your main goal. I have clients that have come to me and they said, I just want to push this film because I have my next project coming up next year, and I want this audience to get to know me. So that's a very valid goal. So I think if you know what you want from your film, it's easier to work with a marketing person. Also, knowing more or less what they doing. Like sometimes, like, yes, just put my. Sometimes it's can we get the first page of YouTube because everyone is there, so we need to get there. So it's like, do you know how much it costs to be on the front page of YouTube? It's really expensive. So it's like getting to know how much the things cost and the job behind it. It's not only posting something on social media, but the craft behind it, like writing the post, choosing the image, having the right designs, also getting into the tool. If you have done the Facebook, Instagram ads, the tool is not easy. I mean, you need to learn, and it's changing all the time. As well, the Google Ads platform. It's also, so it's just not getting to know the work of the marketing person. I think that will make it easy for the marketing person and easy for you.
Yeah. Okay. Good advice. And the other thing I always tell filmmakers when you're shooting is get some good stills, get some good photography on set.
Yes.
My motto: good stills pay bills. Because when you come to sell your film, you have to have those pictures, and you can't just snap away on your phone just every now and again and hope. You've got to get a green screen, you've got to get pose stuff, you've got to get some assets. So I'm assuming you agree that those assets are super important, both photography and digital graphics.
Oh my God, you said something that is filmmakers forget, and it is super important when you're selling your film, especially for PR. Your stills, they might guarantee a space, a space in a magazine, a space in a newspaper, even in a billboard. But if you don't have the high resolution images for that, you might just lose the deal. I have experiences where I have worked with films that they forgot to take pictures, and we needed to reshoot. Like we needed to like get the cast together because we didn't have good images for the poster. So we needed to reunite the cast. Obviously that costs money because like I already move on, like I need to go somewhere else. And then also the shooting, the studio, hiring the photographer. I mean, those, if you don't have good stills from your production from the beginning, then that's gonna be a cost afterwards, and it's gonna be more difficult to get it right. So yes, you have mentioned something vital when it comes to marketing and PR.
Yeah, I'm lucky because my wife and producing partner is a photographer, so we always come away with good photos, and I guarantee some of the early films I made would not have sold without those pictures. The artwork just made them sing, and gave people that instant vision of what that film was about. So I wanted to talk about, so you've worked on, if you look at your IMDb, it's about 4 miles long of all these different films you've worked on. But the big one in there is the Twighlight Saga. Now,
Yeah.
looking at those films, I remember them being an absolute juggernaut at the time, really, really popular. Did that make your job easier working on those movies because everybody wanted to speak to the people in the film and talk about the film? Or did that make your job harder? What memories have you got from working on those features?
I think um, it was easier to sell it
Mhm.
because they wanted to work with the film, but it was more complicated because the studio was behind you all the time. Everything needed to be approved. Everything needed to, like, if you're gonna do an ad, not an ad, but like a promotion with someone. Like I did a promotion with Volvo because Volvo was a part of the part. It was like a product placement, right?
Yeah.
So I got Volvo to give away cars. So in 3 of the films, they gave away cars.
Mhm.
So, but everything they did needed to be approved by studio. It's like, yes, we can do it, and that's amazing. But like, you need to send every post, every copy, every design that they did, because it needed to be approved by studio. And then sometimes, because the cast was important, so some of the cast, they, even if you wanted to do like a very specific promotion and they needed to use a specific image of someone, it needed to go to their publicist.
Right.
They needed to approve
Yeah.
because they charge for those things, and because this is a promotional collaboration, it's like, okay, it needs to be approved. And yeah, sometimes it's very difficult, and the copyrights, and then they cannot mix the arts. And
Mm.
so it's like, it was easy to sell it. People wanted to work with you, and they wanted to, of course, have a piece of the pie. But
Mm.
from the other side, there's a lot of negotiation involved.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And when you think, if I say publicist, I always think of red carpet, famous person, the person next to them going, right, that's enough time, or this is such and such from such and such. Did you have to, was that part of your job? Did you have to do the red carpet? What's that like?
Yeah, I have to do the red carpets with them. And it was I mean, it was nice. It was a great experience being with them. um just sometimes it's very difficult to, when it's someone famous, then you need to control the press.
Yeah.
It's like, you have someone that is not famous, they don't want to take pictures. It's like, please, like, you are begging for 2 or 3 pictures of them. And then you have someone famous, it's like they get crazy, and
Yeah.
then you have to control them. So in one of the I got to promote Divergent,
Yeah.
and we had a red carpet with Shailene Woodley and Theo James. And her manager, I was with Shailene Woodley, and her manager said, okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take her from the arm or the back or something, and then say you have to move up to the next press person.
Mm.
And like this, like, poor Shailene, he was like 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, like 20 times or 30 times
Yeah.
doing the red carpet. So it's like, you see on TV that, yeah, it's like one media here, one media there, but the actor needs to do it like 30 to 40 times. So it's like, I think at the end it's like, oh, it's just, I'm tired.
Yeah. And that,
But yeah, it was a very great experience.
yeah. And that dealing with the press, I imagine, can be quite tough because they've all got their own agenda, haven't they? They've got to get their 10 seconds, and they've got to push to get an extra special quote. One thing I was going to ask you about was obviously things these days, a film can be ruined by bad press. You know, it used to be there's no such thing as bad press. These days, an actor can do something can go wrong, and a film can actually tank because of it. Have you ever had to deal with bad press, and have you got any advice for dealing with bad press?
I mean, yes, I think the films in general, they always have bad press. It depending who is talking about this special film, or I think right now the difference between before and today is also influencers and people on social media, because sometimes they spread the false news, or if a video gets viral, then it's like, how do you stop that, right? So I mean, I think the best thing to handle those situations is you don't answer. I mean, you don't have a you don't comment on it. That's what I have done before, and that's what also studio tell you. Like if you work with a big blockbuster studio movie, they will also tell you that it's like how bad it is. I mean, it's like we cannot control what they say. So that's why they say, I mean, there's not such thing as a bad press or bad publicity, because it's like in the end they're talking about you.
Yeah. And what am I looking at my list here? Just trying to make sure I haven't missed anything. Oh yeah. So one of the other things you talked about is product placement. Is that attainable, do you think, for micro budget, or is that just low budget? You know, where does that, is it something that micro budget filmmakers should be looking into, or do you think maybe product placement's only for sort of low to mid budget movies?
I mean, I think you can get the product placement. Again, how long you have to have those conversations, because it can take weeks, it can take months. So I think it is possible, but you need to be patient, and you need to be I mean, you need to be there committed to engaging with them and follow up. And it's like, hey, what do you think about the film? You know, like having the first contact until they say yes, especially if it's a big brand and you don't have the contact. If you have the contact inside the company that you come well recommended, then it's gonna be easier. But again, it takes sometimes months. So it is possible. I completely know that is possible, that can happen. So maybe if it's not product placement, they pay you money, but they have other ways for them to support your film. Like if it's an airline and you need to fly somewhere, so they might be able to give you accommodation and flights for the crew. Gotcha. And that happens. So that I have closed that kind of deals for films. Also like equipment. Sometimes Canon and this Panasonic, they are open to have these collaborations, and they borrow the equipment. So it is possible.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. If you want all the behind the scenes information that's going to help you with a career in a creative industry, then please do subscribe.